We're glad to have you with us once again. It's time to check in with the team from the Apple organization, Addison Partners for Play, Learning, and Education. And joining us once again is Maureen Reedy, who is the project director with Apple. Hi, Maureen. Glad to have you along here.
Great to see you.
To kick off our new year, and would you like to introduce the guests that you brought with you today?
Yes, I have brought along Kate Estrada, who is from the DuPage County Health Department, and in particular, Kate works with the DuPage AOK Early Childhood Collaborative.
Hi, Kate. Welcome. Glad to have you here today.
Thank you.
AOK. That sounds good. This is going to be an AOK conversation that we're going to have today. Kate, tell us about, well, first of all, how long have you been with the DuPage County Health Department?
Yeah, so I'm coming up on 2 years at the health department.
You're a veteran now.
Yep. So yeah, I started in May of 2023, and I'm now working, kind of as mentioned, with the AOK initiative.
Yeah, all our kids, that's what AOK stands for, right?
Yep.
All right, tell us all about all our kids and why this is so important as an element of early childhood development and early childhood education in our community.
Yeah, well, 90% of the brain is developed in the first 5 years of life.
90%?
Yes, 90%, which is a lot. So early childhood education works to support the cognitive, social, emotional, and physical development of children. So prioritizing these first 5 years of life is so important for success for children. And what All Our Kids does is work with community partners in DuPage to promote the importance of early childhood education through connecting to resources, as well as just building awareness in our community. So what the health department does is through our collaboration, DuPage All Our Kids Early Childhood Collaboration, we work with our community partners to really promote the health and wellness of families, and in particular the children under 5.
This is a unique area for the health department to be involved in. We've talked with educators in the past as some of the community partners with Apple. So, I mean, the health department has so many things going on right now and has it's had it for decades. Is it a kind of a surprise sometimes when people hear the health department is involved in early childhood education? I would have thought they'd been more centered within the schools and the educational community. Do you find some people are a little surprised to hear that the health department is so invested in early childhood education?
Yeah, I think sometimes people are kind of, unaware that the health department is so involved in early childhood education, but I think it just goes back to the health department's mission to promote the health and well-being of the 1 million residents in DuPage. And so a part of that is, of course, our infants and children. And so kind of collaborating with our community partners in DuPage that are related to early childhood services and education is so important to the health department to really be able to promote positive development in all children.
Now, one of the initiatives that is coming out of this collaboration and the All Our Kids effort is something called the Basics. And that sounds great because it sounds like it's pretty kind of, first floor type work and learning about how early childhood education can be approached at its most basic form. So where'd the idea for the Basics come along? And then we can kind of dive into some of the elements that make up the Basics.
Yeah, so the Basics are 5 evidence-based principles, and they actually came from Harvard and are not just in DuPage, but are across the country. So DuPage is just one of the newest counties in Illinois to develop the Basics and implement it in our work.
Okay, ready? Let's go down the list. We'll take them one at a time here, okay? And I'll help you out. The first one is called Maximize Love and Manage Stress. And this is interaction now, a parent and family to child then, right? The 0 to 3 range.
Yeah. So the Basics focuses on 0 to 5, and so we have, like you said, the 5 evidence-based principles, and the first being maximize love, manage stress. So the idea with that is exactly as you said, making sure that families are interacting with each other and developing those, social and emotional skills, as well as that minimize stress as well, right? Kind of on the parents that you can't get rid of the stress, but you can work to minimize it in your child's life, and being able to maximize that love with that.
And stressing that and communicating that, transmitting it to the child can only help by showing the love and also minimizing the stressors in life, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, what's the next one?
Next one, talk, sing, and point. As we know, the literary skills that are needed in those first 5 years. So talking through stories, pointing when you're reading, things with your child. And again, just those skills that you need in speech are really part of the talking and point. Yep.
Pointing. Does that help with the visualization then? If you're showing a picture, trying to direct the child's attention, is that kind of where you're headed in that? Make sure they're focused on this and listening at the same time, putting the two together?
Exactly, like recognizing what you're looking at. So not even just when you're looking at stories, but just out, in the street with your child,
okay.
Talking about this is a bus, pointing to the bus so they can recognize that that's what that is, or this is the color purple. Talking through that with them so they can recognize those skills and be able to develop them on their own too.
Okay, great. Number 3.
Count, group, and compare. This one is really focused on those math skills. It's never too early to start developing them. And so by being able to, do your first 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with your kids is so important when they're, developing in those first 5 years. And we're not asking, 3-year-olds to start doing division or anything, but, they're able to group things together that, might be similar, and being able to count how many things are in front of them can just really help with the math skill development.
Doing the grouping, which is part of this, and comparing. So again, we're going back to the idea of visualization and kind of spatial and proportions and so on, which probably would be great because once the counting starts, they'll start to even question a little bit. Why is this look different from this, for example? And you can do that through the comparison.
Yeah, exactly. So when you're grouping things, you're able to see what the differences are. So just really being able to use all of those developmental skills is so important. And, like I said, it doesn't have to look so complicated at a young age. It could just be putting all of the squares together, all of the circles together, and that really helps develop skills in the future.
Yeah. Is color important in something like that? In other words, something that might be more vibrant helps them start to have the idea of comparison and grouping based on a color, for example, not just necessarily shapes and sizes.
Yeah, definitely. I think shapes and colors are so important in those first years, being able to tell the difference between what is pink, what's blue, what's red. Those are just those first, comparisons that you start with, and the skills really grow from there.
I always thought red was all one, it didn't matter if it was pink or mauve or magenta, it looked red to me. So. All right,
exactly.
Let's move along then. The 4th one of our basics.
Yeah, explore through movement and play. This one really focuses on those motor skills for children. So, being able to play is such an important skill in those first 5 years, and kids learn a lot through it. So being able to develop those motor skills, whether it's like your fine motor skills, or if it's running and walking too, those are so essential to ensuring that, kids are having their positive development.
We talked to some of the people who work in this field, and they talk about how it's important when they do home visits, for example, that they're working with the children in their home environment. It's easier to do things like watch how they play, watch how they move around, and that helps do assessments and screening and so on for early childhood development. So all you're doing is encouraging that. Let them play, let them move around and begin to explore their surroundings then.
Yeah, exactly. And especially in young children, playing is how they express themselves a lot of the time. So just, like you said, encouraging that and seeing how your child is developing every week is such an important skill too.
Right. Okay. Where are we at now? We come to the 5th? Yes, our 5th one. Okay, number 5.
Yeah.
Last one.
Read and discuss stories is so important too. So, when we talk about the basics, it's from 0 to 5, and some parents might not think about reading to their child when they're 3 months old, but it's so important to start that so they can recognize language at a young age, and as they get older, they can start to question, why is this happening in the story, or who is that? And it just really relates to all of the basics together, and discussing the stories is just as important as reading
don't
them.
just read it and say, okay, that's it, we're done. Go to bed. That discussion piece also. Now you have as part of the basics, I understand that there's even a text message that gets sent to parents when they get enrolled. They go online and click onto this. So you're using technology that we're obviously very familiar with. What do these text messages encourage parents to do when they sign up, and how frequently do you do something like that?
Yeah, so our Insights messaging program is just another great part of the basics. So we work with partner agencies to enroll families in these text messages. So they'll receive 2 text messages a week. One about where their child is developmentally based on their age, so they'll insert their child's birthday when enrolling, and one activity that parents can do together with their children, again, to just encourage positive development. And the activities are going to be based on one of the 5 basics principles. So it can be something like read a story to your child and discuss XYZ, or place colors in front of your child and have them group them together. So something like that.
In fact, when the text messages come across, like you said, there's 2. You get a fact, so it tells you something kind of out of the world of early childhood development, and then a try this,
Yes.
right? So it's suggestion, probably based on the fact that was sent out previously.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, nice. It's
Yeah.
great. And those are the basics.
Yep, those are the 5
Great,
basics.
terrific, yeah. So Maureen, how did you first come across hearing about the AOK, the All Our Kids program, and how does it fit in kind of with the overall mission of Apple and what you're doing here in Addison with early childhood education?
So DEC is sort of the overarching sort of umbrella organization, if you will, like that works with all of the more local collaboratives. So as you know, Apple is Addison's Early Childhood Collaborative, Addison Partners for Play, Learning, and Education, but there are a variety of other collabs throughout the county. And so all of those collabs work together with DEC to support the growth and development and kindergarten readiness of children.
And just so we don't lose our viewers here, DEC is actually another acronym,
Yes.
something else to jot down in your
Thank
notes
you.
here. DuPage All Our Kids Early Childhood Collaboration, that's what you're speaking of.
Exactly, and that tends to be what we call them for short. And,
Right,
we have so
DEC.
many of those acronyms flying around these days.
Has this been promoted, the basics, those 5 that we just talked about, is that being promoted in Addison right now?
Yes, it is. So we were very fortunate to be one of their target communities that they wanted to implement the basics in initially. So far we have about 40 families, I think, signed up in the Addison community, which is, I think, the first or second highest number of families signed up to receive these texts and be connected to all of the resources that the basics have. So we're really excited that we've gotten those families registered, but we're always looking to register more.
How
and
did
more
those families take to the idea of this basics format? Did they understand it? Did they get the idea behind it, the interactivity that Kate talked about, even the text messaging component? What was their initial reaction?
Yes, I think they really like the ease of it. They like that it's free, and then also it's just one of those things where we're bombarded with so much information every day. Some of it we can take in, some of it we can't, and that's what's great about this texting program is if you're busy that day and you don't have time to read it, you can look back on it another day. If you're busy that day or you're doing something else with your children and that activity or that idea that's put out there doesn't fit into your schedule that day, you can do it another day. But it's a really great thing, and I'm very encouraging to families, as far as registering for it, because it's just one of those things as a parent. A lot of times you just might be having a rough day or a slow day, and you're not as creative with what you can do to engage with your child and really support their development. So it's just a nice kind of reminder and idea that's thrown in there that can kind of get you motivated and excited about engaging with your child again.
Does the text message part of this help the parent have a feeling of connection? That somebody is thinking about me and somebody is thinking about my child, and the process of how I want to make everything in their early years, those first 3 to 5 years, the very best. And look I'm getting a message from someone. I mean, that must make them, give them a sense of security then that somebody's kind of watching out for their child, even by the use of technology.
Exactly, yeah. It's very tailored specifically to the age of the child, which is nice. So it's very focused on their child and their child's needs at that time.
Yeah.
So,
Kate, tell us about your family. You enjoy spending time with them. Are you from this area originally? Have you always worked and lived in the Chicago suburban area, or do you come from another area?
So I actually grew up in Cicero, so Cook County, but moved to DuPage about 2-3 years ago, and live with my family and some extended family that I spend a lot of time with. So enjoy that in my free time.
I understand you like to cook too, right?
I try to cook, yeah. I like to try a lot of different cuisines and recipes. So I also like to, go out and try different restaurants and just see what else is out there.
We should do a restaurant review.
Yeah.
Sometime. We could do like the check
Great
please
idea.
thing, so we can talk about early childhood education and restaurants.
Yes, I'm in.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite cuisine that you like to either cook in or eat?
I love Thai food. I'm not good at making Thai food, but
Would you like to go out and have
I like
it,
to
though,
go out
right?
and try
Who
Thai
wouldn't?
food. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right. Another element that your collaboration in your work with DuPage County Health Department is you're working on something called IRIS, not to be confused with IRS. And can you tell us what that is and how is that helping young families with young children in these 0 to 5 age range that will help them in their quest for success with their young children?
Yeah, so IRIS is our integrated referral and intake system, and that referral system works with partner organizations to connect families to any kind of resource that they need. So it really is a great way for providers to have warm handoffs, to track referrals, and just be able to promote their organizations, their services, as well as connect their clients, their families to any kind of service that they need. So whether it be behavioral health, early childhood services, some financial help, our goal is to have those agencies available in IRIS so that families can be connected regardless of what they need. And what's great about IRIS is that we care about the well-being of the whole family, and ensuring that parents as well are getting the services that they need can ensure that children are also having positive outcomes.
Yeah. We've heard that in the past where when we've had some of the guests come in here to speak about their affiliation with Apple, they talk about we're really educating the entire family. It's not strictly the young children, but it's also the entirety. There might be children younger still or older children, and then mom and dad, and there could even be extended family beyond that everyone's together. So it is kind of a holistic approach. So that's what IRIS does. Is that when it does referrals or makes referrals, is that nearby? Is it local? Is it within DuPage County? Necessarily close by then where these people would live, for example?
Yeah, that's what's great about IRIS is that it's tailored to DuPage County, but we have services from all across the county. So if you're looking for something in Addison, you'd be able to see that. And IRIS is in DuPage County, but also in Will County and in Kane County. So sometimes you're able to be connected to those different services as well.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to the work that you do and working with the health department and working in the early childhood area, how would you use, for example, a family voice then? How do you like to connect with families? Is there a certain style or method that you like to use to make sure that you're making the best possible use of that precious time and connecting your agency and others to families within the DuPage County area?
Yeah, what's great about our initiatives with DEC and AOK is that we have our parent ambassadors, and our parent ambassadors represent different areas in DuPage, and they work with us to ensure that family voice, representation, their experience and perspectives are being taken into account when we're in meetings, when we're discussing any decisions that are being made, and they also go to community events with us to talk with other parents, connect with them, and understand what is going on in the community from a parent's lens. And we always take that back internally with our team as well as with our external partners, and ensuring that families are well represented in everything that we do.
When you have a family ambassador then meet with a family who's kind of just getting started in all of this, does it help kind of lower their anxiety and try and make it realistic so they understand, it's a process and it takes time, and, with consistency, you'll start to see results. So you don't think about, this has got to get done within a certain amount of time because I have some kind of arbitrary goal to meet with my child. That's not always going to work that way. So does the ambassador kind of help sort of take the temperature down a little bit when it comes to anxious parents then with their children?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what's great about having our parent ambassadors is that they can really connect on a one-on-one level that, you know, as a professional, maybe some parents might not want to be as
a little intimidating.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. So those parents are able to make that connection with families and relate to them on a level that you know, families need.
Well, Kate, this has been fascinating. We're really grateful that you've been able to join us today and speak with our viewers about these really vital services that are available through the DuPage County Health Department and the All Our Kids program and your DuPage All Our Kids Early Childhood collaboration. What is the best way that families can reach out if they have questions, they want to get signed up for the basics, they want to start getting those text messages, like to meet with the ambassadors? How would you like to invite our community to be able to connect with your offices at the DuPage Health Department?
Yeah, we always want to encourage parents to check out our website at dupagehealth.org, where we have information about the basics, about AOK, about IRIS. So we have that information there, and we also want to encourage parents to get involved with their local collaborative as well. So meeting with Apple as well to be signed up to Basics is another just great way to connect with the community.
They're a fun group. I've seen them at the community events. They're just awesome. Great.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Kate.
Thanks
for talking with us today. Now, Maureen, when you bring all of this together, the basics, the IRIS, the AOK, and so on, this is just continuing to shore up the efforts that Apple is doing here in Addison through the Early Learning Center. We've talked with the team from that. ASD4, we've talked with them certainly any number of times. So your list of collaboration partners is really getting pretty large, and a lot of opportunities for parents to learn about the resources that are available in their community.
Absolutely. It's so wonderful to be able to partner with DEC. There are things that they do that Apple doesn't have the capacity to do, and there are things that Apple can do on a micro level that they are not able to do at the county level. So we work so well as a team together. This Basics initiative is just, I think, such a powerful way to reach families and have kind of a common message of promoting development for children. And IRIS has been an incredible opportunity for us to be able to refer families in a way that allows us to kind of close that loop and know that those families have been their needs have been addressed. So oftentimes if we refer without IRIS, we make a call, we connect the families, but we don't know actually what happens. We don't necessarily know
They're
if that
kind of your
family,
boots on the ground then, those
right,
ambassadors from IRIS, right?
Exactly. So we know with the IRIS system, it's an electronic system. Once we reach out, there's a loop that closes, and we know that family has been responded to, that they've been accepted into the program, whatever it might be, whether it's a preschool program, a home visiting program, a housing program because they're losing housing, whatever it might be, mental health. So it's really wonderful to be able to have this
Was that
system.
a challenge before, keeping track of parents? You might meet them once or twice and then you kind of just set them off, and here, these are people you can contact, and you don't know if it's actually happened at all.
Exactly. And there's so many times where it's not followed up with, or there are issues with, perhaps the family didn't know who was calling them, so they didn't answer the phone, so that we can kind of interject and make sure that family knows that who's calling and when they're calling, and make sure that those connections and those referrals actually happen.
How do you work around the language issue then? I know you have Rosie and your team at Apple, but is that still becoming a problem where people don't want to reach out because there might be a language barrier and they're not quite sure if they can do that in the first place? How do you work around
Sometimes there can, although I will say the majority of our partners are very good about having bilingual people that can speak to anyone that needs the support and the services that they provide, which is great. As we were talking about the parent ambassadors that DEC has, most of them are bilingual, so there are really a number of ways to be able to connect in whatever language parents need to receive those services in.
Great. Well, let's talk about some upcoming events now, Maureen, that Apple will be involved in. And first is it's time for preschool developmental screening again. And I know you have some dates scheduled for that. You want to talk about that for a moment?
Yes, so we have 2 preschool developmental screening days coming up at the Addison Early Learning Center for children. The program is for children 3 to 5. So once children are, getting towards the end of age 2, they can sign up if they're interested for a developmental screening day, and those are coming up on March 4th is the first one, and then there's one on May 27th. So yeah, if parents are interested in enrolling their children in the Addison Early Learning Center preschool, they're more than welcome to call.
Register for that, give a call, right. All right.
And fill out the form.
Now, I also understand you have a brand new event and you're excited about this, and it is being promoted here in the community. Tell us about Pregnancy to Preschool.
Yes.
What's that all about?
So this is our resource fair. It's our first annual. We're very, very excited about it. There are a lot of communities that have preschool resource fairs, but we really wanted to cover that entire birth to 5 age range.
Right.
So that's why we've kind of, chosen to have a pregnancy to preschool resource fair. So we're welcoming pregnant moms all the way up to families with children with preschoolers. And we'll have a variety of different resources. We'll have home visiting specialists. We'll have childcare centers. We'll have a variety of different preschools, not just the publicly funded preschools, but a variety of other preschools in the Addison community. And we'll have some fun giveaways. We'll have some raffles. We'll have some free diapers to give away, so it's going to be a great event.
When and where is this being held?
It is being held at the Addison Library, and it will be on March 15th from 10 a.m. to noon. Okay. And we will also be offering developmental screenings, I forgot to mention, at that event as well.
Do they need to register in advance or just show up?
They do not, no, they can just show up.
So it's the Pregnancy to Preschool Resource Fair, Saturday, March 15th, from 10 in the morning until noon at the Addison Public Library, and it's free. Just come on in and take advantage of all the great services from Apple and all of their partner agencies. Great. Yes. Well, it's been a fascinating interview. Kate, thank you very much for talking with us today. Good luck with the collaboration and your initiatives throughout DuPage County through the DuPage Health Department. We're very glad that you were able to join us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me today.
And Maureen, thanks for coming in, bringing Kate with, and keeping us up to date. These services that are available in Addison are very unique. Not a lot of communities have something like this, and to see that they are all working together is exactly what you want. As parents and community members, we should make sure that all these services are operating, kind of all working in the same direction. And through our early childhood collaborations, Apple and ASD4, it seems to be that goal is being met. So we want to thank our guests today from the Apple organization, Maureen Reedy and Kate Estrada from the DuPage County Health Department. Thanks very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.